Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you are learning Python or leveling up your coding skills, you are in the right place. Today we are diving deep into Python loops, one of the most powerful tools for automating repetitive tasks in your programs. We will cover for loops, while loops, break, continue, the else clause, nested loops, and others. Plus, we will throw in some practical examples to make everything crystal clear. So, fire up your code editor and let's loop through this. Alright, let's start with for loops. A for loop is used when you know how many times you want to repeat something or when you are iterating over a sequence, like a list, a string, or a range of numbers. So let's look at the first row. You can see a for syntax. It comes with the in keyword. So what we are doing here? So the for some object in some iterable means that you can write anything for some object, any variable name. So it will be used as a temporary variable name to do something with that. So some iterable is the name of the iterable object like a list or a string, and you can do anything you want with it. The second line, do something with some object, means that you can run anything. If you want to print something like printing hello, and if you want to do something with that some object, you can also do it, related or not. You can do anything, but you can easily do something with that some object. In the second variant, the one below, you are using ranges. As you remember in data types video, ranges are one of these iterables. So one of these iterables is range, and you can use range in detail. So why it's very useful? Because it can let you iterate or loop over numbers. Let's say for some object in range start, stop, it means that you can define where it should start, where it should stop, and what is the number of steps. And you can do something with that some object too here. Here is a basic code example for this. Say we have a list of courses and we want to print each one. Let's write courses equals Python, C++, and Java. So we want to iterate over this list and print each element of it. So all we want to do is printing each in new line. All we need to use is a for loop here. So let's write for course, and beware of that you can write anything here like C or CR. It doesn't matter. Just obey the Python variable naming rules. Type it according to it. So let's type course in courses. And let's print each of them. Print course. As you remember, this is a temporary variable and you can access everything inside this courses using the course. So let's run it and see the results. As you can see, it prints each course in a new line, and we successfully printed each of the courses in the courses list. When you run this, Python iterates over the list, assigns each item to the variable course, and prints it. You can also use the range function to loop over numbers. For example, let's try this, a more simple example. For I in range 5, let's write I in range 5, print I. Let's take a look at it. It starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, the 5 here is not included. Be careful about that because it's not inclusive here. If you want something more advanced, you can use start, stop, and step syntax. So what I mean by that, I mean this. Let's start at 2, stop at 10, and with a step of 2. So if I try to print it, let's repeat. This is the start, this is the stop, and this is the step. Let's print and see what's the result. Okay, it printed out 2, 4, 6, and 8. Again, the 10 is not included. If we could write 12 here, yeah, now it's like this. 10 is included here because we have increased the value, and since the step is 2, 10 is printed. This starts at 2, goes up to 11, and increments by 2 each time. For loops are super versatile for iterating over anything iterable: lists, tuples, strings, dictionaries, you name it. Next up is the while loop. This loop keeps running as long as a condition is true. It's great when you don't know how many iterations you will need upfront. Here is the syntax. Let's write a code example. It will count from 1 to 5. Let's say count equals 1 while count less than or equal to 5. Do not forget colons. So break a line, print count, and count plus equals 1. And let's run it. On the screen, it writes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 respectively. So we are successful. We defined that condition is while count is less than or equal to 5, print count, and add count 1. So it will come here, and while it's less than or equal to 5, so it's now 1, it will print count and it will become 2 here. Then on the next iteration, it will become 2. Then it will become 3, then it will become 4, and it will become 5. Finally, when it's equal to 6, it doesn't meet that condition. So it will break the loop and program will be terminated. Now let's talk about controlling loops with break and continue. The first statement is break. The break statement lets you exit a loop early, even if the loop's condition is still true. Let's check this out. Now I will type a for loop. So let's say for I in range 10. Now if I equals 5, let's write break. As you remember, our statement was break. So if our statement is break, it won't do anything after this line. So even if you write print e, when the I equals 5, it will break the loop and it won't do anything further. Let's write something here. Print for loop is terminated. And let's print it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and for loop is terminated. As you can see, 5 is not printed, and so we can say that it breaks the loop and loop terminates. You can also use break in while loops too. Let's write a while loop and try break. Let's say while true, if let's let's define a variable name number and equals 3, number equals 3. So if number equals 5, break, print number in each iteration and increase it by 1. It won't go infinite. We will also learn about infinite loops. So let's run this code. As you can see, it printed 3, it printed 4, but the others are not present here. We can say that we can use break for all loops in Python. The next one is continue. Continue skips the rest of the current iteration and moves to the next one. Let's see it in action. Let's write a for loop for I in range 5. If I equals 2, continue, and print I. Now run it. As you can see, it printed 0, 1. It did not print 2. Be careful here. It did not print 2. It printed 3, 4. So for I is equal to 2, it runs until here. It sees continue for this condition and skips to next iteration directly. For all other iterations, it executes normally. Here's something cool. Python loops can have an else clause. The else block runs only if the loop completes without hitting a break. Let's check this out. Let's type for I in range 5 colon print I. And let's type else colon print loop completed. Let's see what it prints. And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 loop completed. But if we add a break, let's say if I equals 3 break, we add a break, it won't print this block. So this block won't work, this statement won't work. Now the else block is skipped because the loop was interrupted by break. The else clause is handy for tasks like searching. If you don't find what you are looking for, the else block can handle it. The next one is infinite loops. So when you write a condition that will execute always, and if you don't write any code that update its current state, so make it infinite, it becomes an infinite loop. So let's see it. While through print ABC. So this will run infinitely. In order to make it stop, you might need some key combinations like Ctrl plus C. Let's run it. And in print ABC, let's hit the Ctrl C. And as you can see, it writes keyboard interrupt. And as you can see, it prints keyboard interrupt. So we interrupted it ourselves. The last thing we are going to see is nested loops. You can also put loops inside loops, just like conditionals as you remember. These are called nested loops. They are useful for working with things like matrices or generating patterns. Here's an example. Let's type for I in range 3, below that, after indentation, for G in range 2. And next line prints. Remember formatted strings. We will also see them in the next videos. I'm writing to make it more readable and easy for me. Let's say curly braces, print I, and print G. As you can see, it prints out, so we can use the nested loops for something that is more complex than normal problems. If you liked the video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.